Lucy Jennings from the Creativity Patch. Come along with me and let's do some happy weaving. Now it's time to start the next color. I'm going to cut just the end at an angle. Thread the other end through the tapestry needle. This time I'm going to begin weaving right on this warp thread right here and go to the right. The reason why I'm doing this is just because I think it will look prettier to have this end starting here. Being careful of the edge. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball it as I weave up this slant. Now I'm going to speed it up just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. But it doesn't take as long to watch. Oops, pulled in a little too tight there. Now notice how I turned on the second warp thread in on the right. I'll do this a lot as I weave the shapes. I'll turn on the threads just however I feel like it to create the hilly shape that I want. There's really no rules. Just do whatever you feel like. I like the way this shape looks right here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to outline it with another row of twining. So I'm just going to measure how long that will need to be. I'll double it just to make sure, and then I'll double that again. This time I'll start the twining on this side, and I'll do the same technique going from right to left. So if you had any troubles understanding left to right, then here I am showing you right to left. After I get a bit twined in, I want to start packing it down so it can feel its way into where it needs to be. And then just twine a little bit more. This one was over, so then this one will go underneath the next warp. And this is where the twining meets the other twining, so I'm going to take this thread down and bring it to the back, and then I'll do this one too. And they'll stay there till later on, and we'll finish them off when our weaving's all done. So it's time for the next shape. I'm going to use the same fabric for the next shape, but I've chosen a strip of it that has a little more of the yellows and reddishes in it, and we'll just see what happens. I'm going to cut it at an angle. And thread the other end through my tapestry needle. And I think I'll begin this strip about right here. What I like about using the twining is that you don't have to worry about what the row before it was, because it can get quite confusing when you're making shapes that meet each other. Sometimes your weavings might overlap and start acting funny with the warp ends, and it just doesn't look so good. That's something you can do later on when you've been weaving a while. But for one of your first projects, I think it's a lot easier to have twining in between your shapes. Now, before I weave any further, I want to bring this guy up here because I like him. I want him to show. I think I kind of changed my mind here. I think I'm going to take this out of this warp thread right here because I'm seeing that I think it needs to turn right here because we kind of have a little valley going here. Oops, I made a mistake. See what I did? I went over 2. That's not a good thing. So I'm going to go back. And now I am going to go over, then under. Now it should be smooth sailing. Oops. Now it should be smooth sailing. twisted a little bit too much there. So I'm going to take my fabric and untwist it. Okay, I want them to lay in there just nicely. And get out my fork. And play with your fabric. Maybe you could make it a little bit looser packing in some areas if you really like the pattern of the fabric showing up a little bit, and pack it down more in other places. That's what's fun about shapes. There's really no rules, just have fun. I suppose the only rule is over, under, over, under. That's always the rule for weaving. I think I'm going to stop on this warp thread because he really dips down into a valley. Now right here I'm thinking about how much fabric I've got left on this strip and what I really want to do with it. It's kind of making a nice little hill, filling in this hill here, nice little hill getting filled in back here. And I think I'll push this down and shape it like I want it here too. And I think what I'm going to do is just continue weaving. So I'm going to trim it down at an angle again. And weave it right in. Oops, didn't want to go. That's good. He can just hang out right there. Push him down here. And there you go. Come on, do what I say. I'm just going to get a bit more of the same fabric strip, and I've found another piece that has pretty much the same, a lot of the yellows and the reds in it too. So I'm going to cut it at an angle. Take the other end and thread my tapestry needle. And I'm just going to weave over exactly how I wove the last row here, right on top of it, so it splices together, just like that. And continue weaving on. I think what I'm going to do for fun right now is I'm just going to turn on this warp thread and go back this way and fill it in here and leave this like it is for right now. And since I'm filling in here, I'm just going to go just about as far over as I think I need to fill in that little valley. And now I think I'll go all the way across. And I'm just going to keep weaving all the way down. Now, it doesn't always happen this way, that as I'm weaving across, it just matched up with over, under, and over, under, and over, under with no problems. So I just decided to go with it and just keep going that way. Now, you might find that it doesn't always work out so well. So just do it as it comes and have fun with it. And don't worry, you're just having fun following along, seeing what shapes come up. Now, I think for this one, I'm going to weave it back up just a little bit on the end here. I think I'll just manipulate it with my hand here instead of the tapestry needle. Should be easy enough. And I'm ready for another row of twining. Now don't twine too far without packing it in, because when you're packing in the twining, you're also laying the yarns in and they're having to maybe stretch down a little bit. So don't go too far. You might have trouble packing it in without stretching the yarn too tight. You don't want to stretch it because then it's going to relax later and pull in on the warp. And then it will make your warp have uneven edges. All twined up, and we're ready for the next shape. It's going to be woven with the blue fabric strips. See you there. If you'd like to learn more about weaving, subscribe to my channel. And be sure to check out my website, The Creativity Patch. There's lots more things to learn there, and I've got some really fun weaving kits. See you there, and happy weaving!